Hello, my name is Kedar Ahmed, and you're watching rptv News. Today, we bring you another meeting by a Regent Park resident-led group deeply involved in the ongoing revitalization of Regent Park, and in particular, with the social development aspects of the revitalization. The Regent Park Social Development Plan, also known as the SDP, is a community-wide initiative aimed at fostering unification and community collaboration. The Social Development Plan is constructed by 4 areas of priority. These include the Community Building Working Table, the Safety Network, Employment and Economic Development, and lastly, the Communication Table. The goal of the EED Committee is to increase employment rates and entrepreneurial opportunities for residents of Regent Park. This working group's responsibility is to engage residents and stakeholders to develop and lead the implementation of an action plan with support of the Regent Park Community's Social Development Plan Stakeholders Table. In today's meeting, which was co-facilitated by Ishmael Afra, outgoing resident co-chair of the EED, and Gail Lynch, outgoing market co-chair of the EED. The agenda consisted of the following: community meal, overview of the EED project, cafe pop-up project update, learning series project update, elections of the new co-chairs, celebrations, and thank you to the outgoing co-chairs. Now let's go to the meeting.
So for tonight, this will be our agenda. After the community meal, we will have some status updates, general updates from me, and then we will have updates from particular projects that the Employment and Economic Development Working Group is working on. And then after some Q&A, we will have an election process for the new EED co-chair, as myself and Gail are saying goodbye in terms of the EED table. So currently, the Employment and Economic Development table is working on a lot of different projects. The first one is the cafe pop-up. You'll hear a lot in terms of what that project is about through Gail.
Yeah, so the cafe project is a 3-month project where we wanted to animate this cafe space here. These were some funds from the City of Toronto. And we got these funds back in November, December of last year. The challenges were CSI left because they were trustee in that project. So they left and we needed to find a way forward. And if we went with a new trustee, with me, we would have to pay an additional, 20 or 30% in trustee fees. So that would pretty much demolish the money that we had. The project is only about $50,000. So what we've done subsequently, and it took this long amount of months, is we have partnered with the RPNA to be accountable for this project. We have signed MOUs with the city, with CSI, with Artscape, so we can use this space. And so that we can get those money flowing in. We needed an organization to hold the funds so that we can then disperse them. And RPNA was the appropriate fit. We've got a number of entrepreneurs that have signed up that want to do this. And we want to do it Monday through Friday. Initially we had someone hired as the coordinator for this project. And because it took so long to get that money from the city into the RPNA accounts, they decided to take another position. So we are in the middle of hire again. So hopefully this will work out to our advantage and we'll have somebody in place. The idea is, we have a centralized system. We are paying for that system. So really we need to start generating some income. I think the most important thing about this project, it is part of the entrepreneurship journey that we've created that came out of community wealth building project. And a couple of things that are important actually. That was submitted to the city of Toronto, and and it seems as though not everybody at the city has seen it, because we presented it as well to a market conference that included markets across the world, including the city of Toronto, and they were surprised that this existed, and they thought it was impressive, and now they want us to share it with them again. Secondly is that, the idea is to resource that entrepreneurship journey all the way from 1 to 7 or 8, how many steps they are. And the second step is our cafe, where you've gone through a learning series, which you'll hear about from Layla. Now you've got some theoretical skills, some practical skills, but now you're going to take those theoretical skills and put them to practical use by running your own business, utilizing the space, the cafe space here. So that is the project. So takeaways or next steps. One would be that we are hiring hopefully by next week. We're starting hopefully by next week. MOU from Artscape is coming. We're just waiting for that, so we know what the expectations are. There is going to be a cost to that entrepreneur, but that's a minimal cost, whether that's 2% or 5% of what you are making, of your income. But the idea is that after we're done this cohort, we've seen what we've done, we get some feedback, we improve that, and the next cohort, and we can continue like that and be sustainable, right? So 20 years down the road, we can say we have a project that if you are a new food entrepreneur, you can get into this project for 3 months and get the experience that you need. Hand in the back.
Sorry, just to confirm, so it's like a 3-month
It is.
project?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And for this project, I'm assuming you might have, drug developers, PAs that have to go out to you specifically, I suppose, to see if you could streamline potential clients into the.
Well, tell me who you are.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yes. I'm leaving the EED co-chairship. However, I'm still a part of EED and still working on these couple projects.
So I guess
I just don't want to be the co-chair.
No worries. I just want to know where can we who do we connect with for the project?
Okay,
right?
Me.
Awesome.
Yeah. Regent Park EED@gmail.com. But yeah, just reach out and because we'll have a coordinator and then they'll take over just seamlessly. Which organization are you from though?
Dixon Hall.
Oh, awesome. Welcome. Thanks for coming. We're always excited when Dixon Hall arrives. And it's not Diana.
Thank you.
More questions? Oh my God. I can't answer those. Those are very difficult questions. I can't answer.
No, I heard Monday to Friday. What happened to Saturday and Sunday?
Ooh, 40 and a 6. And this is what happens when you get feedback, right? When you get feedback, you look at pros and cons and you pivot accordingly. Is there preps on Saturday and Sundays? Hallelujah.
And is this pilot, when we were talking, yes, it's a pilot 3 months, hopefully you will run through the whole year.
Yes, absolutely. So that's the key, right? That now this cohort has done it. Oh, who's the next cohort? Or, do I think as an entrepreneur I need a little bit more time? Or do we end up with, at the end, that we have a actual cafe that is owned and managed by the Social Development Plan in association with the RPNA? Yeah.
Sounds good. So if you have more questions, please send us an email, regentparkeed@gmail.com. Next, I'd like to call Layla to talk about the learning series.
Okay, hi. I'm Layla, project coordinator for the Learning Series project. The Learning Series project is an initiative for entrepreneurs to gain the skills that they need to move forward. So basically, we're here to help entrepreneurs to start or expand their businesses. Great, thank you. So as a part of the project, in the beginning, we did a need assessment in the community. I went around, talked to people, 19 people answered the surveys. We had 7 in-person interviews with the community members. Everyone was very cooperative, and I'm very glad about that. Talked to 3 leadership members and 1 caseworker. And out of all this, the result was that people want to know about funding and financial management, about marketing, about how to write a business plan. And one key thing that was missing apparently in many of the projects and initiatives was something sustainable, something that we can go back to, something that we can access to more for longer term. So based on the need assessment, we already had our first workshop last month. It was about idea development. We heard from community entrepreneurs. Ines is here. She joined us and talked about her journey and her work. We talked about phases of idea development and how to build the narrative about our businesses. The second workshop happening August 29th, 2 weeks from now, about business plan creation. Third one, we will bring as an initiative as a response to the need of getting connected to business experts, and as a response to a more sustainable act, we're bringing mentors for each entrepreneurs. We have, let's say, 20 entrepreneurs in the room. We also have 20 mentors in the room, and they will build their relationship together, and it will be a start of a mentorship program in the neighborhood. Next one will be on financial management, and lastly, we want everyone to build their own capacities to have the resources and know where and how to reach out for support. So it will be an informational session with so many experts about how can you get grants, how can you get the resources you want, how can you get the hiring resources and all that. Last Tuesdays of every month, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Mark your calendars. Next. So this is the first workshop that I talked to you about, that I told you. This is just a glimpse of the theory that we worked around, the idea development phases, and creating the narrative with the golden circle method. So what we do in these workshops is that we kind of bring the theories into action. The theories that are, they say that they are kind of a step to a more successful business. We bring them to action and we try to practice them and see what works for our businesses. And I think, yeah, that's it. If you have any question, regentpark80@gmail.com. I'm usually here on Tuesdays and happy to talk to any of you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Ibru, who will talk about the next EED project.
Hi everyone, my name is Ibru Sahim. I'm the workforce integrator for the EED Employment Pathway Project. And briefly, I will provide information about the EED Employment Project that I'm working on with different stakeholders and all local in the Regent Park. And due to limited time, I will provide short information, but if you have any question after this presentation, please feel free to come and talk to me. We can have a quick chat if you have any questions. So, first of all, I would like to, as we know, the Regent Park revitalization project has been ongoing for a decade, and that led by different stakeholders, including TCHC, Daniels, and Tridel. So, as part of the primary goal that we have with EED employment project, which is part of this big project, we aim to create a place-based workforce development strategy to establish employment pathway and to make stronger the relationship between the community and the employers, specifically local employers, to be able to contribute to socioeconomic development of the Regent Park. This is the main and primary goal that we have, that we want to achieve at the end of the day. How we are going to do it, we do have three strategies that I want to mention. The first one is the demand lead. We are talking about the first thing that we are going to start with actual real job. We are not like the other employment services. We are bringing you the real actual job with our job developers. That include Tridel and Daniels. Currently, we are in a stage with Tridel, Daniels, and TCHC to be able to develop the demand planning to see what kind of positions that you have for job seekers at the Regent Park. And the other strategy that we are applying is the supply-driven. That means we are ensuring local job seekers like you or like many others in the Regent Park are aware of the opportunities that we are providing them thanks to our job developers, and we are helping them to access suitable employment pathways. We are helping them to get hired by those job developers. So how we are doing it, we get the demand, which is like an existing job, which is real jobs available in the job developers, and then we are moving forward with the supply, which is the actual job seekers. We are putting them together. How we are doing it? The network managed. How we are doing it? We are working together with local service providers, such as Dixon Hall, such as YSM. We are helping job seekers to meet the criteria that the job developers, such as Tridel and Daniels, wants you to have to be able to get hired by them. We are helping you to improve your skills and abilities. And also, we are making sure after you get hired by them, we are making sure you are sustaining, you are retaining job in those positions. Okay, what are the expected outcomes? So basically, why we are doing it? As I said, the primary purpose of this project is to improve socioeconomic development conditions in Regent Park. And with this project, we are aiming to have a documented understanding forecast of job opportunities that we have with our job developers. And we also want to make sure that everyone put their hand in this project. Every service providers that we have in the Regent Park, and every job developers that we have in the Regent Park. So we want to see our community working together to be able to have a better future for you and for your families. And another things that we are hoping to have is the prototype design and implementation plan for first pathway. Yeah, it's a pilot project. However, we do have strong stakeholders to make this project succeed. And finally, we are aiming to have up to 10 local residents to get hired and retain the positions that they are going to have in the job developers who are participating in this project. So, if you are looking for a job, or you have a business, you are a local employer, and you're looking for to hire someone. Here's my information. As a workforce integrator, we can have a quick chat to see how we can support you in hiring or finding a position. Do you have any question to me? And also, feel free to get the flyers here. We are looking for Regent Park residents to join our steering committee. And also, I'm having some info sessions to be able to provide more information about the project that we are having. If you have any question, please feel free to get one of those flyers, or you can simply come to me here and talk to me right now. Thank you.
Is this only for young people? Is this for
No,
everybody?
yeah.
Because I know the main key right now is youth, helping them in jobs and stuff. That's why I'm asking that. Is it open to everybody, or is it?
There is no age limitation for this one, yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So our next item is the election of new ED co-chairs. I'd like to invite Gail. Gail, if you can run us through this process. Can you hear me, Gail?
Peter knows the process. Okay, so we're electing 2 new co-chairs. I believe we have about 5 applicants. In terms of the terms of reference for the social development plan, there needs to be 1 market and 1 TCHC resident. However, we have no market residents. That's why I'm running away. We have no market residents, but we have 4 TCHC residents, which is amazing. I'd like to have 4 TCHC co-chairs, but they say I'm a rebel and I can't do that. That's why Joel is here, to make sure I don't mess with the process. Yeah, I know.
Actually, you can do it. We said at least 3 copies.
At least. Oh, and Michael is here to rile me on. Yeah, 4 is what I say. But then TCHC says they don't have enough money.
No, it's 3 co-chairs, isn't it? Agency, TCAC,
No, it's 2.
private.
Well, it's 3.
Yeah, it's 3. Agency.
Adding more co-chairs.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
It's 1 agency, 1 TCAC, and 1 private.
Correct. So we have our agency, we think. But we need 2 resident co-chairs. We've got 4 TCHC co-chairs. And yeah, we're going to go through an election process. Peter's going to help us.
Are they here, the 4 TCAC tenants that are running?
Sorry?
The 4 TCAC that are running, are they here?
Sure.
It's 3 actually. 1 person was going to, but they're going to join us in general.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Are they gonna give a little speech or something?
Do you want a speech?
I
Peter's got the process.
I would like to hear
This is
why
EDD
is
meeting,
it that
okay? It's not
they
saying
want to
meeting.
be a
Yeah,
co-chair.
I think everyone should have
Absolutely.
2 minutes. 3
We're gonna
minutes.
do that. We're
Each
gonna do
introduce
that. But
themselves,
before we get
please.
there, right? Because I think what was extremely important was the presentation from Ebru. And I hope that we are all listening, both agencies and residents, right? There's like 4 residents in the room, 6 maybe, 8 maybe, right? And about 8 agencies, right? And what I heard was, how can we create the right strategy so that if I need a job, there's a pathway to get me there, and not just a temporary job, but a job that has longevity, sustainability, and continuity. So, if you think about the fact that we are now trying to spend $26.8 million, or decide how to spend $26.8 million, the biggest bucket thus far that residents voted on is for employment and economic development, right? That was before we even went through the recent process. But before, when we started talking about this revitalization, those 3 buckets, the major bucket was employment and economic development. So, I can't stress enough. This is your opportunity, right? I don't got no children. I'm almost dead. And so, so this is your opportunity. right? My nieces and nephews are like old as well. So it is about you, right? How are you going to help to understand how to spend 26.8 million in 20 years when the phases 4 and 5 are here, when your children will be 20 years older and your buildings will be 20 years older. Let me stop preaching. Go ahead. I thought you had a question. Okay, valuation's done. So Peter is going to take us through what the process is going to look like. Thanks, Peter.
Okay, I'll explain the process really quick. I'm Peter. I work with Revite. I'm a community revitalization assistant. So the process, are we willing to take nominations for the floor?
Sure.
People do want to nominate themselves? Okay. So we have three, as Gail explained, we have spaces for 2 TCH co-chairs and 2 market co-chairs. We've received nominations from 3 TCH residents to be co-chairs, and no market residents have nominated themselves to be co-chairs. So we can open it up to anybody who wants to nominate themselves as well for either of those positions. If market residents nominate themselves for one of those 2 spaces that are available, they'll and let's say no more than 2 people nominate themselves, right? Those people will be put in as co-chairs by acclamation. There will be no vote unless there are more than 2 co-chairs, and then we need to decide between who is going to take those 2 market spaces, right? So for the TCH co-chairs, we already have 3 existing. We have 3 existing nominations. Like I said, we'll have to vote between those 3 to decide on 2 co-chairs ultimately, correct? So the first one we have is Levi Collins. Is Levi Collins here? You can show your hand. Levi. Okay.
She said she may be late because she is working.
Okay, we won't do speeches just yet. I think I'll explain the process, then we'll decide if anybody wants to nominate themselves as well. We also have Shazeb Ahia. Is that Shazeb? Okay. And then we have Ibrahim Afra. So Ibrahim, do you want to raise your hand as well, just so everybody see you? All right, great. So those are 3 TCH folks that have been nominated. We'll have everybody do a speech like 2 minutes in a couple minutes. But just before we get into that, does anyone want to nominate themselves or somebody else for TCH co-chairship or as a market resident? Is anyone into it? Going once, going twice? All right, we're locked in. We're locked in with our 3.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Who is the organizational co-chair right now?
That's a question for Gail.
TCAC.
No, but who represents them at that position?
Shane.
Shane. Okay, so Shane Bourne is the organizational rep. So, but what we're deciding on today is just the TCH, really just the TCH co-chairs because no market residents have put themselves forward to be co-chairs. So what we'll do is between the 3 nominees, we'll pass out ballots. We have these ballots with everybody's name on them, Levi, Shazib, and Ibrahim. And then everyone will vote for up to 2 candidates. So you can vote for either 1 person or you can vote for 2 people. You cannot vote for all 3 people. And you have to clearly indicate who you're voting for, right?
Sorry, why are we voting for 2 TCAC tenants when it's supposed to be 1 co-chair?
I think it's 2 TCH co-chairs.
No, 1.
I was told 2. Gail?
Gail, isn't it 1 co-chair for each committee? A TCAC tenant? 1 TCAC tenant for co-chair?
What do you mean for co-chair? 1 TCAC tenant.
Yeah, and 1 private owner and an
1
agency.
private, 1 market resident, but we don't own nothing. 1 market resident. Yeah.
But when we discussed it,
And our agency co-chair.
Yeah, so that's 3. So it should be only 1 voted in tonight for a TCAC tenant.
Oh yeah, that's correct.
it should only be 1.
Yes, it should only be 1.
Yes,
Yes,
not 2. 1.
yes, 1.
Are we sure
So
about that?
1 TCAC
I'm very,
We're 100%
very
sure
sure.
about that
Yeah,
every discussion. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, 1.
Sorry.
So 1 of the 3.
1 of the 3.
One of the
Okay.
three.
All right. Sorry.
I was too voted in.
Yeah,
We have no
that's why I
market.
was
We have no
confused.
market.
This is my
We have no
first
market.
CED meeting, so let's move it from here. Okay, so we have 1 TCH co-chair. we'll vote. Everyone will vote only one time then. No voting for two people. Everyone will vote for one person for TCH co-chair, okay? And again, that's between Levi, Shazib, and Ibrahim. They're all written down here. Anything else? Should we get to speeches?
Get the speeches.
Does the process make sense? Any process questions? We have a ballot box. We'll hand out a ballot each. Okay, so I would say Levi would be the first person to speak, but Levi's not here, so we'll start with Shazib, and then we'll go to Ibrahim after. Do you want a mic?
Not too many people.
If you want everybody to hear, you should use the mic. I think there should be less talking, please.
Don't go crazy.
Hello everyone. It's really loud. So I see a lot of familiar faces today. So those of us who don't know me, my name is Shazeb. I lived in this neighborhood for a very long time. Don't ask me how long because I really don't remember. I just remember coming here when I was a little kid. And I've been here, like, safe to say, at least 15 to 17 plus years. So during that time, like how I grew up in this neighborhood, I used to play around. You know, a lot of the people that I see are like familiar faces growing up, and going through. You know, I pursued some religious studies, education. So I wasn't here for a little while, but then once I came back, I finally got the chance to finish off my high school, and then I did college. And I chose George Brown, social service worker, because I had a real big interest within the community. So that was the line of work that I wanted to do. So during that time, I got a placement within the neighborhood, which was wonderful, with TCCLD. So I was working with Suraya for to name a few stuff that I was working with would be like the CPR training program, mental health first aid, cultural bazaar, the Ramadan dinners, etc., etc. And right now I'm just working with her and a few other community folks, and I'm interested in the EED co-chair. So that's a little bit about me and what I've been up to and why I'm interested in this position. And yeah, is there any questions from anyone? Yes, sir.
Why are you interested in the co-chairship?
Because it furthers community development, and it's something that I'm really invested in. Because I see a lot of people in our neighborhood that are really interested in, for example, some of the stuff that was discussed today, business plans, different stuff related with workforce integrator, different job opportunities. I want to get involved in stuff like this so that way I can connect with more neighborhood people, network, and we can build each other up. That's my main, that's part of some of my intention. But yeah, so that's one thing. And is there any other questions?
Well, it's nice to see a new, fresh face.
No, it's not a question, it's a comment, but it's nice to see somebody who's interested and see a fresh face coming into the SCP, that it's always nice to see that, right? Because it's always been the same people, so it's nice to see that.
Thank you very much.
I had to put it in there.
So,
Pass on to.
So I guess that's my time. So I'll just
pass on to Ibrahim.
Good job.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ibrahim. All I want to say is that this is not a kingdom. I'm not taking over after him. So everybody can vote for whoever their heart belongs to. I'm always a good supporter, as I just say, for a lot of community members to join the SDP. One way or another, I will always be involved. But the reason why I want to be the co-chair for EED is because of the two topics EED deals with. One of them being employment. I am these days becoming more religious. There was a time when I prayed to God, and one of my prayers was that where I live, where I worship, and where I work should be a triangle. and it came true. My 9 to 5, I work for an organization in the community. So when I realized there's a lot of folks in the community that are looking for employment opportunities, just like me, who want to work near their house, who want to not only have a great job, but also have a great career opportunity. And that is very possible, but that requires a lot of hard work, a lot of collaboration, and a lot of folks that are in EED table are pillars of this community. So we need to make sure that they do hire locally, and the integrate work is happening is just that. The other part of me, there's also another wish that hasn't come true yet, which is to be financially free through business. I have started my own businesses here and there, but COVID-19 always played a trick on what we do. But I care about entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship is not something that is discussed everywhere. If you look at everywhere, you would see job places. You won't hear about entrepreneur center. You won't hear business center. All of that, I feel like, is dedicated to a special privileged group. But Regent Park is blessed to activate that within our own local community. I want to help support that. And one of the key ways that I want to help support that is the entrepreneurial pathway. And that entrepreneurial pathway is the most amazing thing I've seen. And we need to make that into a reality in this community. And I think I can best support that. I already am doing a couple of projects on the side, but with all of your work, I think we can make that pathway into a reality while we have this opportunity of revitalization. But whatever happens, EED is always exciting, and we will make all of you who join either get a good job or be financially free through businesses. So I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Okay, so unless Levi is here, is Levi Collins here? No, so Levi's not here. Levi's still on the ballot. You can still vote for Levi.
Well, if we don't know who he is and what his future is, he cannot vote.
She's
sorry.
She's still on the ballot. She nominated herself. Like, you know, I don't think we can take her off the ballot. So I think the way we'll proceed is Maggie and Layla each have ballots in their hand. If everyone who wants a ballot, wants to vote, could just raise their hand, and then one of them will come over to you with a ballot and a pen. We'll give you one ballot, one vote. Remember, only check off one person. The blank spaces underneath, just to be clear, were for write-ins in case people nominated themselves. That obviously hasn't happened, so don't worry about those. Just please clearly mark off only one vote. Otherwise, we'll have to toss the ballot, okay? So just put your hands up, keep them up until you get a ballot, and then we'll come around with the ballot box after, okay? Sound good? Any questions? All right.
Okay, I was like, I have a question. It is June. Okay, great. Thank you. I'm much obliged. Just so like I know where to confirm it, right? And where you guys will stay. That's hiring. Like which website? Oh no worries. Thank you anyway. I'm much.
We're counting.
Yeah. Like I'm sure I find her in this
So this one is to keep that kind of snug so that the camera doesn't fall, it doesn't drift down, right? And then this one, you could keep it loose so that you can do so this is loose, or once you tighten this up, then it's like a third control. I'm just going to snug them all.
Don't go for this. I like it. Don't go for it. Everybody's looking for me.
You didn't send me a picture. I did.
Don't you have enough? Are you doing an election? Probably pretty soon.
Listen, some of these committees don't do the procedure the way they're supposed to do. Of election and stuff.
Specifically. The planning committee. Restart. Yay!
Drum roll, please. Okay, so we have, actually this was very close. So Shaza, 6 votes, Ibrahim, 7 votes. It was that close. Ibrahim, yeah, Ibrahim.
Congratulations.
So, congratulations. Take off my crown. Take off his crown and give it to you. Did you give him the to-do list? There's about 76 things on that to-do list.
So you're not gone yet, you're still there.
Yeah, we're not gone. We're still just like you. You guys come to the meeting. We're going to come to the meeting and sit down right there too. So no, we have work to do. There's a cafe project and a learning series and a tech lending library project and a workforce integrator project. So we do have work to do. So we're still here. Yes. Are you going to finish up the? Okay.
Well,
That was results.
I believe that's about everything. What do you call that? I just wanted to say thank you for coming, and what do you call it? It's been a great honor to be the Employment and Economic Development co-chair for the past, I believe, a little bit, just a year and a half. We've done a remarkable work. We've introduced a lot of different ideas. One of the proudest things we've introduced is the entrepreneurial pathway. And I believe if, as Ibrahim said, if that pathway becomes a reality in the neighborhood, where people are able to come in, learn about how to run a business from ideation to developing a business to scaling up a business, all that learning, if they have those learnings happening at a first step, and then they go about modeling their business opportunities through the many bazaars that we have, the Cultural Bazaar, the Taste of Regent Park, and also the cafe pop-up where they can explore and model and test their business model because they've just learned a lot and they want to see, does my business work, right? So that's another step. And then we're working on container markets, affordable markets where people can rent out and test their business, to affordable community commercial, where people are able to actually rent affordable community markets in the neighborhood, to, in the future, have a business in the neighborhood. And I think that model is one of the biggest contributions we brought to the EED, and as well as these fascinating projects right now we're working on. So it's been a difficult sort of process to sort of step away from these key projects as they're developing, but opportunities elsewhere came up. And I want to thank Gail for introducing me and orienting me to the EED. What do you call, from first day, I've seen Gail work full-time job in her job, also as a business person, run her business, and also give back to the community. I've never seen someone who from 7 in the morning comes in and then late at night, 1 o'clock, watching basketball here, still working, all right? So you have a tremendous community volunteer here, and I've seen her passion, and I've seen her work, and it's been a great partnership, back to back in the office, working on these projects. So from myself to my community, I want to thank you for the time I've been with you, and next up is my brother, who will continue with that work. And I hope other residents could also continue the work. I know that community building is looking for a new co-chair, possible election, so more residents. And I want to say thank you to everybody.
Awesome. You guys are about to become a city councilor or something. Serious speech right there. Yeah, so thank you for your commitment. He's right. We put in a lot of hours, there's no question. We were rivaling each other to see who could get here the earliest. He could never get here earlier than me. But who could leave the latest? And yeah, usually that was a big fight, right? Who would leave here the latest based on the amount of work that we had to do. So the transition from CSI with all these projects to all the different people that we had to make that happen, I closed my eyes and said, it's all you, my friend. Because I was too busy. And so I give him kudos for doing a tremendous job, learning what a RACI is, first and foremost, learning what an MOU is, and then creating all of these RACIs and MOUs for all of these projects to make sure that these could still happen, else that we would need to give back the money to the funders, right? So that was a tremendous amount of work. When I started this, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, somebody walked up to me and said, we want you to be the co-chair of EED. I did not even know what co-chair meant, right? It's not a term in my work life. But employment and economic development was something that was important to me and will continue to be. You know, my parent was so instrumental in finding ways for me to get employment, and that always stayed with me. Right? You're growing up in a country, 250,000 people, one university, one college. That's a lot of fight to get into tertiary education. And so to find unique ways to get your child an education and a job, she was very good at doing that. So maybe that's part of where my passion comes from. There are some amazing projects that we have on the go. I'm leaving the co-chairship. I'm not leaving the work, and that's important. So whatever support you need from me to make it happen and make it work. And I would say, if you know people who might be interested in giving back, employment and economic development is the way to go. We're a nice, friendly bunch. I also want to say something, you know, when I was thinking about taking this role, somebody said, oh, those agencies, they're no good. And I came in with that mentality. But the biggest supporters for me in doing this work have been the agencies, right? Dixon Hall has been tremendous through Diana. YSM has been tremendous, first with Paula and now Hassan. I mean, these guys go above and beyond. Whenever we ask, they ask how high. Also, kudos to Daniels Corporation. We dragged Daniels, TCHC, and Tridels kicking and screaming to the EED leadership, right? Because they're like, we're not agencies. They're like, we don't care. Come. So, you know, but they came and they did the work, right? So even getting this meeting happening, Fatima's not here, but she was all in the background, making sure that everything happened today, from food to PowerPoint to logistics. As much as she was sick, she was still calling me and saying, okay, I got X, Y, Z done for you. Here's what you need to do. Tridel, again, anytime we ask, they always say, how high, right? We have very strong opinions as residents, but they're always willing to listen, always willing to find ways to make what we want happen.
Also, we're kind enough to bring a cake today to celebrate both of your, leaving the EED co-chairship. So on behalf of everybody else, thank you so much. I've only been here for a couple months, but it's been really nice to work with both of you in every capacity that you're involved in the community. So thank you both so much. So let's give a big round of applause. And
Peter, you have to be in the middle. Because Shay's not here. Oh my God, you guys are like, these guys. Am I by myself?
Yes. Okay. EED.
That's right.
Cheese. Save money.
Job. Employment.
Is this a video? What's happening?
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. For more information, check out our website.